helping others change their perspective. Yes, we are here with you now and forever. This is life. Are you living yours to the fullest? Are you taking advantage of the wonderful gifts that you were given upon your incarnation into human form? Do you feel your potential, or are you spending your time lamenting what is wrong in your life? How are you choosing to see your life? It is your perspective that creates your reality. There is no reality except your own. Reality is within you, not outside of you. We are Shaltazar, the Gavish Baninu, the energy of 33, the Master Teacher. We have come forth at this time to bring you divine wisdom that can enable you to live in greater harmony, in greater peace, with less struggle. Often your struggles come from what you think is your reality. You think your reality is your personal history, the things that you experienced in your lifetime expression. And yes, what happens to you is important, but it is not the true source of your struggle, your discomfort. Your struggle comes from your perspective of your reality. Many of you have heard the term that human life is an illusion. What this means is that your life is not real, it is only your perception of your life that is real. Let us explain. Two people both experience a debilitating disease. One is terribly afraid, full of fear, and goes to every medical practitioner possible to find a cure, to be healed, to be fixed. The other person, although at first is also debilitated by their prognosis, decides not to succumb to fear. They choose to rise above this serious disease they have been told they have. They go within and find an inner strength. They decide to heal themselves and change what they believe may have caused this disease to grow within them. So what is the purpose of this story? Well, to a certain extent, both these people have the same reality, a debilitating disease. But as you can see from our analogy, how they handle this reality is very different. So the viewpoint each one has about their disease creates a very different reality for each. So is their reality really the same? Their disease, their objective reality is the same, but their perception about the disease, how they see that disease, their subjective reality is very different. So in fact, their realities are quite different. Now, we have heard many of you say, I can't change my perspective. It's too hard for me. Other people are more fortunate than I am. They have courage and discipline to change how they see things, but I can't. And to a certain degree, you are right that some people have greater propensities towards courage, discipline, and determination to be able to choose a more positive outlook. Each of you has been implanted with certain propensities in your DNA upon incarnation. That is not a punishment or a judgment. To a certain degree, it was of your choosing. Not a choice made by your humanness, but by your higher self that has come forth to experience, may we say, a certain setup of the propensities that allow for a unique human experience. May we interject here that there is no such thing as failing in a lifetime expression. Judgment does not exist in the higher realms. So if your propensity is towards less courage, less discipline, or less determination, it is not bad, just like more courage is not good. It just is. We tell you this so you may have understanding, compassion, and empathy towards those who are having greater difficulty in choosing a more positive outlook towards their life experiences. In our analogy earlier, the person who was consumed by fear of their disease may have come forth with a greater propensity towards fear than the other person in the example who chose a more positive view of their disease. In the eyes of Source, both humans are loved equally and unconditionally. Neither is better than the other. Neither is more of a success than the other. However, the human reality is such that the more positive the perspective you have, often the more pleasant the reality you experience. The more negative your perspective, the less pleasant your reality. So a logical conclusion would be to work towards the most positive perspective you can in your life. And although that is logically correct, that may not help those humans with propensities that make it more difficult to have a positive outlook. So what can those people do? Learn to love what is. Learn to love all aspects of who they are. Love their fear, love their negativity, love their lack of discipline, love their lack of courage, love their lack of determination. For you see, when your perspective comes more from a place of self-love, your reality will not be as much of a struggle. As we have told you many times before, acceptance is love. The more you accept your reality, the more loving you will be towards it. Now, we are not saying that those who have propensities that make it difficult to have a positive perspective should not try to change their perspective. No, we are not saying that at all. Of course, in the planet of free choice, each and every human being has the choice to choose their perception. What we are saying is it is easier for some to choose a positive reality than for others. And for those who are always struggling to find the positive reality, we offer them the gift of love. Although we are suggesting that these people with propensities that make it difficult to choose a positive outlook try and choose self-love more of the time, we realize their DNA propensities may make that more difficult to do all of the time. And that brings us to you, their soul brothers and sisters. What we suggest for you is to love them as much as you possibly can. We realize asking you to love those who wallow in self-pity, who often appear toxically negative, can be difficult at times. Often, you are concerned that their negative, toxic energy will adversely affect you. So what we suggest is that you practice self-love more and more until you are overflowing with love. The more love you have within you, the more love you can give to others. What we would like you to consider is to change your perspective about your fellow humans who often appear negative, fearful, loathing, self-absorbed, and on and on. You know the people in your life we are talking about. Begin to consider that maybe, just maybe, the propensities they have in their DNA make it a bit more difficult for them to find peace, harmony, positivity. Consider giving and sharing the love that you have worked diligently to cultivate within yourself more freely to others. There will be times when your love tank is not full, when you don't seem to have enough love for yourself, and that is when we suggest that you try not to be in the presence of these less fortunate, negative people. It is not your job to fix them, for they have come forth to experience a lifetime with the propensities that are within their DNA. They, at a certain level, do not want your pity. They merely want what all humans want: love. So take care of yourself. Choose a reality that nurtures as much love as possible within you, and then learn to share that love as generously as you possibly can. What you may find is that by showering love on those whose propensities lead them to a more fearful and negative reality, is that their reality just may shift. It may shift to become more loving, more courageous, more disciplined, more determined, more fulfilled, and more peaceful. You see, you can help them overcome their propensities by showing them by example how to find the love within themselves, and maybe Just maybe the love that they receive from you allows them to learn to love themselves more. And that love that they find within themselves can change their DNA propensities, allowing them to have a much brighter perspective on life. Our message comes to you from a place of eternal love. We are here with you now and forever.